Hey everyone, it's Nursey here, pediatric nurse and special needs mom. If you're anything like me, you think doctor's appointments, right away you think stress. And it could trigger the best in us. This is before you even leaving your house. You're thinking about the waiting room, waiting with your child in the waiting room, and there's lots of people, lots of bright lights, lots of noise. Many times it can trigger your child's emotions in the waiting room, and sometimes they even need procedures. Our kids can feel overwhelmed, and we know definitely we can too. So today I'm sharing my survival guide for navigating medical visits. So today I'm sharing my survival guide with you guys for navigating medical visits with your special needs child. These are practical, simple strategies. I put these together as a professional nurse and as a special needs mom. So grab your cup of coffee or tea or whatever it is that you drink. Take a deep breath and let's make doctor's visits less stressful for you and your child. So number one thing I believe is very important is you want to be ready for this visit way before you're even out the door. Okay? You gotta be ready and prepared. Okay? That's the best thing, the number one thing that you have to always remember. Preparation is your best friend. Right? So the first step you want to do is I usually wait till the day of the appointment to let my daughter know, just because it reduces a lot of anxiety. If I tell her like days ahead, she'll be thinking about it for days and stressing about it. So I personally like to wait till the same day of the appointment to let her know. I used to tell her days before, but it did cause her much more anxiety that we needed. So the same day of, she knows what we're talking about, and we get it done. So before the actual appointment, you tell them and you let them know. Just give them a very brief synapse of what's going to happen. So first, you want to tell them what's going to happen. Very simple words you want to use, or sometimes if they don't respond to how you communicate with them, maybe a short story form, like a social story, sometimes works really good with them as well. So, for example, I say, Alana, we're going to visit Dr. Lee today. Remember, she's the doctor that checks your lungs and looks in your ears. All right, so when we go do that, the doctor is going to listen to your lungs with the stethoscope. They're going to look in your ears, and then we're going to go home. It's basically just giving them what to expect, like that they're not afraid of the unknown and they know what's going to happen. Step 2, you want to pack a comfort kit when you go to these appointments. What do I mean? Never leave home without the things that your child likes. Obviously, the smaller things are better because you need to manage everything else. So you need something small. But I don't leave my house without the headphones for my daughter and her phone so she can listen to her jams. Also bring a little fidgety toy, something that she can hold in her hands and keeps her distracted manually. And definitely some kind of snacks, either their favorite snacks, something to drink, water, preferably. We don't want to give too much sugar to these little ones. So for many of our kids, this could definitely help prevent a meltdown in the doctor's office, which we don't want. And then step 3, you're going to plan the schedule. If possible, I like to choose very early morning appointments before your child gets tired throughout the day, right? Because when they get tired, they get more cranky. They don't want to do anything, and everything just gets a lot harder for them and for us. So I like to book the first appointment in the morning as often as I can, because I know they're not going to be tired. I'm not going to be tired, and try to avoid back-to-back therapies, because that's another thing too that it just causes unneeded stress and tiredness. So remember, back-to-back therapies, long waiting doesn't mix well. Okay, it's either one or the other. Can't do both. Not only for your child's mental health, but for yours as well. And then section 2, here we have is managing the waiting room. Okay, let's talk about the waiting room now. It's often the hardest part for for your child to deal with, right? Why? Because there could be a lot of people waiting, a lot of other kids, a lot of loud noises, bright lights, and it could definitely help trigger a meltdown. So one trick that I use in advance before getting to the actual appointment, if you can, ask at the front desk, preferably ask a nurse, because at the front desk, they're busy with other tasks and stuff like that. So you want to try to get to the nurse. So if you either let the front desk know to please notify the nurse, okay, because the nurse is the key there. The nurse is the one in charge, and ask for a quiet space. If you could ask for it ahead of time before actually getting there, would be best. So like that, they already have that planned in their schedule. But if not, once you get there, you let them know. Make sure the nurse knows you need a quiet space for your child. Many clinics will either let you wait in your car until the time of the appointment, until it's your child's turn to be seen. Now, until distraction is gold. Remember, distraction is gold. What do I mean by that? Have the iPad ready so they can occupy themselves with the iPad or a phone. Make sure you have their favorite apps, their favorite calming music, or even you want to have maybe the tactile toy, the fidgety toy that they can keep their hands busy as well. And here's a nurse's tip. Don't be afraid to advocate for your child, okay? If you know that this is stressful for your child and for you being in a waiting room, you want to, like I said, make sure you let the nurse know in the office. The nurse has to know because she's the one that runs the show in the back side of the office. If your child is having a meltdown in the waiting room, politely let the staff know to please be brought quickly to a quiet room, to please be brought back quickly. You're not being difficult. You're just protecting your child's well-being and yourself. So during the appointment, once you're in the office now and you're with the provider, with the doctor, this is where you have to be both the parent and the advocate for your child. You're going to introduce yourself and you're going to introduce your child to the provider. Because many times, a lot of doctors, even though they work with kids sometimes, or a lot of times, they may not know how to deal with special needs children, even though that's who they work with. But sometimes they don't know, or it's the beginning of their careers and they're still learning. And it's okay. We're all on a learning trajectory, right? But that's why you are there to help them and guide them to an easier visit with them, right? So you can say something like, "Hi, doctor. This is Alana. Alana's my daughter. And the really loud sounds really bother her a lot. So try to speak softly if you can. I'd appreciate it." And so would she. And doctors really appreciate this because, like I said, if they don't know them, they're not going to know these little things. And if you can let them know for an easier, smoother visit, that's what we do. You also, while you're there with your child, you stay calm and you're going to try to give choices when possible. When possible, of course. We always try to give choices because that helps decrease their anxiety and it gives them some kind of autonomy in their choices and with their body. So you could say, do you want the stethoscope first on your chest, or do you want your back first? Right? Because the doctors usually have to listen to the front and the back. So you say, which one? And the doctor is going to hear this and they're going to obviously participate with you because we want a smooth visit, right? So do you want the stethoscope in the front part of your chest or in the back? And either they'll point or either one. And if they don't respond, then you can say, okay, well, let's start with the back, which one they want to start with. So giving this small amount of control will definitely help decrease their anxiety. And third, you as your parent, you have to stay calm. Kids will pick up your energy, okay? They feel everything that you feel, even though you don't realize it, they do. And they will pick up that energy and they will ride on it, okay? So make sure you control yourself, okay? Which means deep breathing, ask for guidance to your higher self, and ask for peace and patience so you can continue the visit calmly and smoothly. And finally, don't be afraid to say no to your child. And finally, don't be afraid to say no, okay, to the doctors. You are allowed to refuse or delay non-urgent procedures or visits or medications if it doesn't feel right to you, okay? So in my own journey with my daughter, I've had to say no many times to the doctors for certain procedures, for certain medications that they wanted to give. And that I thought, and whatever decisions I decided, I know was correct, was right for that moment in time for my daughter. After the appointment, so the appointment doesn't end when you leave the room. Always debrief with your child. What do I mean by that? Celebrate their bravery. So, for example, there was some loud music in the waiting room. And I know that loud music, my daughter, it bothers her. Okay. But I see that she was able to manage with her headphones, with her fidgety toy. After the appointment, I'm going to let her know, Alana, you did really good during the appointment. I know, and let her know. I know that the loud noise and the music was bothering you. I know that. But you were able to control yourself with the headphones in your ear and you behave like a big girl. You let them know. You have to. Celebrate their bravery. Even if it was rough, highlight at least one. There's got to have been at least one positive moment throughout the whole visit. If there isn't, you find one. You sat on the table very well while the doctor was listening to your lungs. Or good job for responding when you gave you a choice between choosing the front or the back of your chest. Let it be known to them because it makes a tremendous difference. Take notes before you forget. Take notes before you forget. So even if you have your phone, if you have nothing to write on, leave a note in your phone, a voice note, a written note, whatever you want to do. Write down what worked during the office visit so you don't forget for next time. And what triggered your child. Maybe there was something else that was triggering and you thought it was loud noises, but now you figure out it was the noise from the little kid's iPad that was sitting next to him or next to her, or maybe it was the voice of the front staff in the office. Maybe, we don't know. It could be different things. And also write down what questions you didn't get answered. So if there were some things that either you forgot about to ask and you wanted to ask, make sure you write that down as well. And for yourself, give permission to let go. These visits can be draining and it's okay to feel exhausted. We're human. So self-care is not selfish. It is necessary to be able to continue to bring peace to our children and to ourselves in difficult times, and especially at appointments. Listen, doctor's visits will never be perfect, okay? But with preparation and advocacy and knowing what you're going to ask, it could be manageable and less stressful. Remember, you know your child best and you know what's best for them. The doctor, yes, they're a health professional and they will give you their guidelines of what they think is good for them. But at the end of the day, you're the mom, you know them best, and you know what's best for them. If you found this helpful, I created an ebook on medical care coordination for children with special health needs. It's full of strategies to help you stay organized and stay confident every step of the way. You could grab it in the link below. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more mom tips because we're all in this together. Till next week. Bye.